And a lot of my friends would tell me, like, why don't you just get a job? Like, I can't work a 9 to 5.
So he's doing a
This is
whole
the
bunch
most
of
Gen Z laziness I've ever seen.
Yo,
Oh,
okay, wait, no, wait, hold on. He's doing.
I can't work a 9 to 5.
The title is "I Can't Work a 9 to 5."
bullshit.
I don't know. I might agree with him.
And a lot of my friends would tell me, like, why don't you just get a job, like a 9 to 5 job? You're working all these hours doing this every day. You're better off just getting a job. Like, you'll get paid more. I would rather, do what I do and make 35 grand a year than work a 9 to 5 sitting in some office and get paid 100 grand a year. I can't work a 9 to 5.
So he's doing a
This is
whole
the
bunch
most
of
Gen Z laziness I've ever seen.
Yo,
Oh,
okay, wait, no, wait, hold on. He's doing shit like DoorDash and stuff like that, and he just realized that it'd be miserable to sit down in an office 9 to 5.
okay, that's the template he's using. But like, if we just think about all variety 9 to 5 jobs,
9 to 5. Yeah.
you're telling me you gonna take 35K of freelancing to other than 100K guaranteed? Get out of here. I don't believe that. I think it results in laziness, bro. What? Because where in your self-preservation does it make sense for you to take a $65,000 pay cut just because you want to wake up at 10 o'clock in the afternoon? Or, damn, 10 o'clock in the morning.
Soul draining. You'd rather focus on other things, like
What?
more.
What is he focusing on? He's not focusing on money. And he's just said he's working a lot of hours. So he's not
Okay, it's mitigating stress, dictate different vacation times. Let's say you do that 9 to 5, you got to stick to that like specific vacation. You can't like work around that. And you're always dependent on somebody else that may just decide that you are expendable.
So you're telling me that the freelancing that he's doing right now is ultimately better in the long run for him because of his peace and not because of where he should be socially? Like, think about the long run. Like, okay, let's say the 9 to 5 is just a hustle. Let's say we both say we're going to go 5 years. You're going to freelance. I'm a 9 to 5.
Okay.
At the end of those 5 years, I'm going to have more money. It doesn't matter. Regardless of where I am mentally, I'm going to have that. So I can't see, because where's the stress relief coming from not having the money? Because you're making $35,000 in today's world. You're really not making anything.
Okay, yeah, if you're I mean it depends on where you're living. But
Not in America, you ain't.
if let's say it's not even 100K. He's saying 100K, but let's say it's more actually like 70.
40, 60.
Yeah, it's like 60, 70, whatever. That's like on the high end. And he's still doing probably the same amount of work. If that's just like slightly giving you a better lifestyle, yet you're always having to do that. Like it's the same thing over and over. And there's like nothing that's pushing you to change. There's nothing that's pushing you to like do your own thing. It's like and it's always based on somebody else. Like, granted, the freelance work is based on somebody else, right? You do have to have customers to do it. You get to put in that work. You're right there in front of that person. When you're working under somebody in an office, they can literally cut you out at any moment.
Okay, but well, that's just if they're incompetent, there are other situations. But you're also getting rid of the fact of a job really, like those people who really like their jobs, it ain't a job. It's just it's a part of their day. So those people who would really enjoy their jobs, but they're still 9 to 5, like, is their peace still cut off because they do that every day? Well, you agreed.
Slightly. Yeah, like slightly. Like, of course you need to be able to do it, is what I'm saying. Because when you go into that other work, you're going to be working way more than an actual 9 to 5. You're going to be doing way more work. It's all the time. But there are more periods of, like, being able to turn it off.
I can understand that.
So it's like, with that other thing, they call you in, that's it.
But I think that's the only thing they bring up when they talk about freelancing is the fact that they are their own boss. But a lot of that from the up, like how many of those get off of the ground? A lot of it, the first couple months, is stressful. You're bringing on more stress in the beginning, and that's if you even make it off of that ground level. And then you still got to build it up to where you can start making that much much more money. And then what? Your goal is to what? Stay independent or to build up on it?
I think the biggest defense I could give for him for saying this is that when you start there and you don't set this standard of going to work and making 100K, your life, unless you're really good with money off rip, your life will not be at that level. So when you start out doing your own thing, you're going to keep getting money and your money's going to go up. Your lifestyle is going to stay the same. Unless you're really good at it. Let's say you do go to the 100K job and you don't spend that money. But most of those people don't. They go out with their friends. They go out to eat. They go do all these things. They pitch in at work. They actually spend their money on their job rather than like the things that they want. And I would say that's like the biggest defense I could give for that is like when you start at the bottom and you realize where you're at, you realize that money isn't the thing that you like to do. You just like to do the job. Like you like the fact that it's something that you like to do rather than the job.
So for me, I didn't know what to do after I graduated high school. Like I barely graduated high school. I had bad grades. I couldn't get into any of the colleges that I applied to. And at the very last second, I had to join like a community college. And my mom told me that if I can just find a way to graduate college, she could get me a job working at a bank as a bank teller. Like she knew someone in the banking industry and she told me she can get a job there if I can just graduate college. So my plan was like, okay, my goal is to just go to this community college, study really hard, transfer to like a university or a Cal State, graduate there. And then after I graduate, I'm going to work at a bank for the rest of my life.
I disagree with his mentality.
And a lot of this comes from, a lot of his thinking comes strictly from your parents and those high school teachers.
Yeah.
They tell you you're going to go to college, you're going to study one thing, and you're going to find your job as soon as after, and that's the rest of your life. Bro, that's not real. To think that you're going to leave high school and find your next life job is so rare, it's kind of crazy. Like, it's not going to happen, really. So that already just believing that is just already making me not like him that much.
Oh, like there are people out there right now that they don't have his mindset. They just have a regular mindset of like, I can't do any job. Like they're not doing freelance. They can't do a 9 to 5. They can't do part-time. Like there's people that like literally can't handle doing a job. From his perspective, him thinking that way, like having this tunnel vision of like, this is the rest of my life, I can understand why he would not want to do it.
Yeah.
But other people now that say the same thing that he does, but don't have a plan, that's the unacceptable part. Like you should be able to at least do that 40-hour work week or 30-hour, whatever the hell you're doing. You should be able to at least do that before you try, because you're gonna do more when you do your own thing.
His mom wanted him to be a bank teller. You don't need a college education for that.
You don't even need that. That's the crazy part. Like,
you don't need that, but I can understand, you know, she's a mom. She wants him to have that in his back pocket, which is not bad. I didn't want to bring this up because I don't think they're a great representation of the person, but he said he barely did well in school and all that, which is fine. Homework doesn't fucking make you smart. It's just a work ethic. All those grades are just
it's discipline.
It's literally just work ethic, discipline, all that stuff. So when you tell me you have low grades your entire high school and then you get out and you tell me you don't want to work, what does that sound like?
Yeah. Like you have to learn the ability to do something that you don't want to do and be able to do it repeatedly.
The people who play sports, they condition their body every goddamn day. They got to eat right. Everything comes down to discipline. So I really need you to have a good reason.
Yeah, imagine telling your coach you don't want to run drills.
What?
You can't say that.
You can't.
You can't do that. He's going to be
get
like,
out of
right,
here.
You're done.
And then I thought about it, work at a bank for the rest of my life. Like something about that just sounded kind of depressing and sad. Like I'm not bashing it. By the way, I'm not bashing anybody who works a 9 to 5 or who works at a bank. It's actually the opposite. Like I have so much respect for people who can do this because I can't. Like I physically can't do it. Like the more I thought about it, the more I thought about like how this was going to be my life, like the more I started to panic. This is going to be my life. This is going to be what I do for the rest of my life as a bank teller sitting in front of a desk, typing in numbers, doing the same thing every single day.
Okay. All right. All right, you're losing me. You're losing me.
I've been lost. You took my map from me for no reason.
I must have been projecting because I was just thinking like, all right, this is why he did it. But physically, you're gonna vomit? Like what the fuck? Can't do that shit.
The physical strain, which I agree. A lot of jobs take a lot of strain out of you for way less than you should make. Coal miners went into them bitches and killed themselves for them families. You think they didn't want to be breathing in asbestos and lead and all that? I promise you they didn't.
People were eager to get into the coal mines.
Yeah, like
I used to work at a part-time cashier at this one cafe, and I still remember to this day, like vividly. But there was one day where I got home from working a full day shift on a Friday. It was 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So I was working from opening to close that day. It was a full day, and I was dead tired. And I remember like I got home, and that Friday was the day where I received my paycheck. So it was a 2-week paycheck. It was like $450, I think. And I remember like I was excited. Like I was dead tired, but I was looking at my paycheck of $450, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to spend this. And then I was like thinking of all the different things that I can buy. Whatever, like I was lying in bed, dead tired, sleepy, tired, and just thinking about like with my eyes closed, like what I would do with this money. Like I was holding the check, lying in bed like this, because to me that was a lot of money. But once I got past that phase of, thinking about what I can buy, I started to go a little further and start thinking about like, okay, I'm making $450 every 2 weeks working at this part-time job. That's $900 a month, right? And I was only working like 3 days a week, I think, at the time. So I was like, okay, if I can ask for another work day per week, I can probably up this to $1,000 instead of $900 a month. So
every teenager, either at the end of their high school or at the end of their high school career, they literally have this conversation with themselves where they look at something and they're like, okay, this is cool. All that stuff I can buy. You know what I'm saying? You getting that money in your head. This is literally just called being an adult. This is called becoming an adult. Realizing that all that shit that, they kept away from us as kids is real. Let's bring up that job he had. He's at the cafe, bro. I promise you, bringing up that register was hell for him. Hell, he hated that job.
Every time somebody walked in, he wanted to just...
I promise you, he probably wanted to be, either making coffees or cleaning up some other shit, rather than trying to figure out how to work this damn register, because he probably slower at one point, boom, boom, but he had all these problems at the beginning.
That whole aspect of, like, they don't teach you how to negotiate when you first start a new job, and they kind of take advantage of you because they know it's your first job, you're going to accept less money. Because... generally, you don't have the skills yet. So, of course, they're going to pay you. Or they're going to move on to the next kid who's going to accept less than you. So,
and you really can't say nothing. You don't have the experience.
If you're already thinking about what you're going to buy, you kind of have to just lower all of that. All that expectation of, like, I'm going to make this amount if I do this job or whatever, just like how he was saying. Then you won't ever be stressed or depressed if you keep you keep pulling it back. Keep doing what you're doing, but always lower the standard of like living. Think about your expenses, like budget that shit out. So then when you have that money and you see it start to accumulate, you don't think about spending it. You just think about reinvesting it, which they don't teach in school at all right now. And ever. I don't think they ever did. Let's say you can do that. Let's say you figure out what your limit is, right? Let's say you can only do 30 hours and it manages that you can have your own place. You should think about reinvesting it, but then you should also think about the thing that you want to do. And if you can only put 1 hour into that thing every day, so you get off work, you take 1 hour and you take one step towards the thing that you actually want to do, whether it's like freelancing, starting your own business, doing a YouTube channel, making music, whatever it is, if you can just put a little bit towards it every day, the consistency is what does it. And you're actually having fun when you grow in that thing that you're doing. Like us talking to this camera right now, just this one thing, like this little bit that we're doing right now, it's going to add up in the future.
Really there to reach a goal, whatever your goal may be. And it doesn't sound like he has one, because he's talking about, oh, my goal is just to get blank amount of dollars. And then what? You're going to leave? Because you don't like the job. He just said that. You don't want to stay there for a year, and then what? You're just going to leave, and then now you're at the next job with $12,000.
$1,000 a month for a broke high school student who just graduated, like that's a lot. So I was like, okay, let me do this for an entire year, $1,000 a month. Let me save every penny. And I started to get like motivated. I was like, let me start to think of all the things that I can buy with $12,000. So I went from thinking of about what I can buy with $450 to like, let me work for an entire year, make $12,000. Okay, now I'm thinking about what I can buy with $12,000. So I was excited. But the more I actually thought about it, like the longer I was lying in bed just thinking about how I was going to spend the $12,000, the more confused I got. Because I was like, sure, $12,000 is a lot of money, but there's not a lot that I would want to buy, first of all. And also, I'm working an entire year, taking drinks, taking people's orders, making drinks, sorry, and taking people's orders. Like, I'm already this tired from working one day. Like, can I even do this? Like, is this worth $12,000?
And this is what happens when you're young. You think that number is what you're getting.
Oh.
Even though, like, when you don't get it, you still think that's the number you're getting.
Yeah.
Him thinking that he's going to have all that after that, he's realizing that money's not all it's like cracked up to be. Like, I know there's a study out there that even if once you reach a certain income level, your happiness level doesn't go up any higher. Like, your stress goes down. Like, I think it was $250,000. But when you want any more money past that threshold that you make, it doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't change anything in your life. You don't get any happier, and you start to realize what actually matters, and it has nothing to do with that.
Like just sitting in front of a desk, typing in numbers, filing paperwork, just doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I was like, I don't want to work in an office. Like, it's already this stressful working at a cafe, and all I'm doing is just taking people's orders and making drinks, and I'm already this stressed. I was like, wait a minute, how are there millionaires in the world? Like, I understand celebrities, I understand athletes and these musicians, these professionals. Like, those people are making millions of dollars. Like, cool. I understand like all these actors, these world level athletes, whatever. Cool. I'm not talking about them. But I was like, celebrities aren't the only millionaires in the world.
It's kind of irritating to me how he keeps saying on it. He said, like, how are people millionaires? Work ethics? Determination?
Yeah.
Not hating their job after a day. I'm sure actually they did hate their job after a day. Some of them probably left, but they went out and they got another job and they kept it pushing.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how he could ask a question like that out loud and not hear himself, because a lot of what he says comes back to him.
There are a lot more people like me than I actually thought. People who think like me, people who go through similar thoughts and similar situations. Like, I'm just a normal guy with extravagant thoughts. There are other normal people out there who have the same thoughts that I have, but before they get into it or before they actually do anything and take some action, they were told by someone else, or they tell themselves that it's not possible. It's possible. Like, it's real. Like, I'm sitting here now telling you that it's real. Find the right people you trust. Obviously be careful, but find these people, like whether it's me or somebody else, and learn from them. Like, implement their strategies, and you can change your life. You can change your life. You can make money online. Don't listen to anybody else that tells you any different.
He's saying find mentors. People who are in the position you want to be in, talk to them, learn from them. And I'd give this advice to people when you're young and let's say you wanted to do what he did. I'd piggyback on what he said about the work ethic in a 9-to-5. Learn it first. Always learn it first before you even try to do this. Even if you find your mentor, they're going to realize you don't have any work ethic. And then you can't even put in the work. You have to be willing to do something for free that you want to do until it works.
Of course, you want a support base, but bro, don't rely your success off the back of others.
Yeah.
Not to say that you can't have people help you in your success and reach each other's success and your visions of it, but to piggyback or to to try to piggyback off of someone else, it's not going to work if you don't have it. You need determination, you need work ethic.
You might not be someone who can jump into being like a stand-up comedian or can jump into being an internet star or can just like that lady in that one fucking video who had the kids, right?
Yeah.
That thing, like that happened to her. She thought she could just jump into it, and look where she ended up. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I have to say about that.
I agree.
Otherwise, yeah, he is successful. That's why he's saying this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm saying, I'm okay with you not liking your 9 to 5. That's okay. A lot of people don't, and you don't have to go in that field if it's not for you. But you do need that work ethic, and I think the 9 to 5 is a really good building stone, a good stepping stone for yourself, because you really learn. Because if you want it, you got to grind for it, and that is a good step. And like he said, if you're just putting an hour into your craft to practice what you want to do, then that's okay. You still doing it. It's not like it's on the side burner or on the back burner. Like I said, you're actively working on it every day, and that means it's gonna get better.
Ice Cube said something about it, about putting in 10,000 hours and making a quarter. Like, if you're not willing to put in 10,000 hours and make less than $1, then you're not ready.
You really don't want it, because that quarter to you, it took you forever to reach it, and you finally got it. And that's now is more motivation. But if it's not for you, then it's really not. Then the lifestyle really isn't for you.
Yeah.